The reason the Gophers' offense is struggling so bad is because Jerry Kill is a horrible play caller and a horrible team builder. He has no clue. Like, I used this example last week, and I'll use it again, okay? If you're running a read option offense, which is an offense similar to what Colin Kaepernick has run and had success in, what RG3 ran and had success in, what Tim Tebow in Florida ran and had success in. That's the type of offense, style-wise, that the Gophers run. Most important position, quarterback, like always. But you need totally different skill sets. We've got a quarterback whose skill sets resemble a Matthew Stafford, a Joe Flacco, a Peyton Manning, a big, tall, in-the-pocket guy. That's what Leitner is designed genetically to be. Look at him, for Pete's sake, okay? You're basically asking Peyton Manning to run Tim Tebow's offense like he's Tim Tebow. Well, of course he's going to freaking struggle. That's not his strong points. Well, then why did you recruit him? Like, if he's not a scheme fit at all for your offensive scheme, why did you recruit that guy? That's just idiocy to me. He was recruited to be the starting quarterback of this team. Yet he's a completely wrong scheme fit. Well, heaven forbid you change the play calling, and the scheme to fit the talent that you have. No, I'm just going to continue to do this thing that doesn't work over and over and over again, because that's what I like to do. And if the person I have can't do that, then that's their problem. No, it's your problem, Mr. Kill, and it's going to be your job. I do. I hope it's your ass in the unemployment line going into next season. Because as long as you're the head coach of this team, we're not going to be able to recruit in-state or out-of-state anything other than offensive linemen and running backs. And that's not going to get it done anymore in college football. Not if you're trying to build a program that makes money, that has success. You need to be able to recruit kids at all positions, but especially at skill positions, mainly quarterback, that have a chance to develop and train before moving on to the pros, to the NFL. The Gophers could never produce an NFL quarterback because they're not training, because Jerry Kill isn't training any of his quarterbacks to play quarterback like that. He's training them to run around with the football and either hand it off, pitch it out, or tuck it and run and keep with it, or fake the handoff, run, and then stop real quick and throw to one guy. Jerry Kill's offense is pathetic. It's a joke, and he is 100% the problem with the Minnesota offense. It's not Mitch Leitner. Mitch Leitner is every bit capable of being the starting quarterback of a Minnesota Gopher team that goes 9-4 and finishes runner-up in the Big Ten after winning the western portion of the conference and losing to either Ohio State or Michigan State in the Big Ten championship. If that doesn't happen, it's all on Kill. I'm telling you, it's not Leitner's fault. It's not the offensive line's fault for being not good or too young or not healthy. It's none of those things' fault. It's Jerry Kill's fault because he's a moron who is just... He's so Chip Kelly. He's so self-righteous and insistent that, no, just because, I want to do this and I thought this, then, it's a great idea, and that's what we're going to do. There are no adjustments made, ever. He doesn't compromise. He doesn't change. He doesn't learn. A stubborn coach who is set in his ways and not willing to incorporate new data, learn, and counter, that's a worthless coach. If winning games is your goal. So, that's where we're at with the Gophers. And, That's all I'm going to talk about college football. All right, let's get on to other stuff, as we are starting to run out of showtime here a little bit. All right, well, let us get to Major League Baseball here, as we are winding down the Major League Baseball season. Twins won last night. Yay. They also called up the highly touted prospect Kepler. Since there is no room at first base, DH, or outfield, he will most likely be used just as a pinch hitter, possibly in situations off the bench. But he is a bat to be excited about for next year if you are a Twins fan. He will either be an outfielder, first baseman, or DH. To me, if his glove can handle it, the ideal situation then is to put him at first, put Sano at third, and have Mr. Joe Mauer focus specifically on hitting the baseball. He has to do nothing but be a DH, focus on hitting, focus on staying healthy and strong. That's where I'm hoping the Twins go with it, but still, nice to see him get called up, and he will be a nice pinch-hitting option should we need it anytime here in the home stretch for this final wild card spot. The Twins are chasing the Houston Astros for that second wild card spot. The Astros are 80-73, while the Twins are 77-73. So odd that the Houston Astros have played 3 more games this season than the Twins have. So theoretically, if the Twins could just simply win their next 3 games in a row, they would be tied with the Astros and then in some way, control their own destiny. But we'll see if that happens. Taking a look at the Twins' remaining schedule here on Wednesday, the 23rd, we are still in the midst of a series with the Cleveland Indians. There are no more off days for the rest of the season. Monday was the final off day. We will finish up with Cleveland tomorrow night on Thursday. Hopefully we can sweep that series. That'd be huge. Then we go on the road for a 3-gamer against the Detroit Tigers Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Got to win at least 2 or 3 there. And then we face Cleveland again in Cleveland for 4 games, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. That is going to be the home stretch, really, where if the Twins can go 3 out of 4 there, or pull a sweep, then you can get serious about a potential playoff run. But the Twins got to win at least 2 out of 3 in this current Cleveland series. They got to win at least 2 out of 3 in the Detroit series. They got to win at least 3 out of 4 in the next Cleveland series. And then they got to find a way to win 2 out of 3 in the final series at home against the Kansas City Royals. That is how your Minnesota Twins make the playoffs, barring a collapse of some kind on the Houston Astros part as well. Like I said, they are locked into the second wildcard position at the moment, at 80-73. Twins at 77-73, trailing them, as well as the Angels at 78-74. Rangers in first place in the AL West by 2.5 games over the Astros. Royals in first place by 10 games over everyone else in the Central. And the Blue Jays, the Blue Jays at 86-55, 2.5 game lead over the second place New York Yankees, number 1 wildcard seed at the moment, but only, I believe, 1.5 games to 2 games behind. No more than 2 games are the Blue Jays behind the Kansas City Royals for the number 1 seed home field advantage in the baseball playoffs. All right, so then we go out west to the best division in all of baseball all year by far. Guess what? This division has 2 90-win teams. By the end of tonight, come tomorrow when you wake up, the National League Central might have 3 teams with 90 wins. Do you know how many other divisions have a team with 90 wins? Not one. Not a single one. That is right. Your 3 best records in all of baseball belong to the top 3 teams in the National League Central Division. The St. Louis Cardinals at 95-56 with only a 4-game lead over the 91-60 Pirates and a 6-game lead over the 89-62 Cubs. It is a travesty that the Pirates and Cubs, the second and third best teams in all of baseball, not just in their own league, not just in the National League, the two of the second and third best teams in all of baseball have to play each other in a one-game wild card play-in round to the playoffs. That is an absolute outrage, travesty, joke, just crime against baseball and baseball fans. This is a huge deal. People need to start talking about this with the call-in sports talk shows. Sports media needs to do a better job of covering this. This is unacceptable. Everybody complains about the NBA playoffs this last playoff season, because some of the teams in the East aren't very good, and, there's teams out in the West that are better that don't make it to the playoffs, We're still not talking about the second and third best teams in the whole entire sport. Are we? No. We're talking about like the 10th and 15th best teams in the sport. People were so worked up about that, they changed the format for next year. Baseball? Are you kidding me? Your 3 best teams in all of baseball at the end of the season, and 2 of them have to play each other in a 1-game playoff game, and the winner will advance to the next round of the playoffs, and the loser to the real opening round of the playoffs, and the loser will go home after finishing the season with the second or third best record in all of baseball. They'll get 1 playoff game, lose it, and be done. No, this is outrageous. But unfortunately, nothing's going to be changed or done about it this year. It is the way it is. But people need to start screaming from the top of their lungs and complaining about this so that next year and future years something like this doesn't happen. Gosh, if only there was a immeasurably intelligent sports talk person who had a deep thought segment on his show where he could tell us could tell Major League Baseball how they should have their playoff format so that, these travesties won't happen in the future. If only. Well, we'll have to wait and see, I guess. But then to finish up baseball, out in the NL West, the Dodgers have a 6-game lead over the Giants. That looks pretty wrapped up. And the Mets have a 6.5-game lead over the Nationals. So there are your baseball standings. And my thoughts. Twins, it's like I said, it's going to be hard, but it is possible. More than anything, it is going to come down to pitching. The pitching staff the last 2 to 4 weeks have really been the derailer of whether we get in or not. The bats, the fielding, the young guys, the veterans, the everyday players, they've been doing enough for the most part. So in Sano's case, always more than enough. But it's been the pitching that's let us down. So that's going to have to improve, and then the bats are going to have to stay hot, and you got to find a way to win. Like I said, every single one of these last 4 series or whatever that we have, you have to win them. You can't lose more than 1 game in any of these series if you want to make the playoffs, and have it be because you earned it, not because some fluke collapse on some other team happened. Alright, so in classic Scotty Ball fashion, we're going to cram everything that we still got here into what I like to call quickies. We see how many quickies we can get in before we got to end the show and say goodbye. Should be right around a 2-hour show here tonight. Not too bad. Alright, so tiny bit of NHL news. The NHL hockey season, preseason, is underway. The first and possibly second and maybe even third preseason hockey games of the upcoming season have been played. I know the Minnesota Wild lost their opening preseason game to the Buffalo Sabres. They were the worst or second worst team in all of hockey. They got one of the two big superstars in the draft, not Connor McGregor or Connor McDavid, or I forget frickin'.